everybody! Welcome to another great episode of A Cuppa Grateful with a shot of expression and 2 squirts of reality. And today, I've got a really badass code squirt. Drum roll, please, darling. The mental health messiah for Rebelpreneurs, who serves harsh truths with a spoonful of sugar. J-Ryze went from homeless to successful entrepreneur and a consultant to Evan Carmichael, who he's helped take from 1,000 subscribers to 3 million, which is like totally rad. Can you help me do that, yo? Just saying. Jay learned some harsh lessons while he was homeless and pulled himself out of poverty. And I understand that one firsthand too. And the ideas and perspectives that he teaches on his podcast that he co-hosts that is called Eyes Wide Open. Beware. Jay's not for everyone. He's so honest and upfront. And y'all know I love that. Welcome to the stage, everybody. J-Ryze.
Hey. It's honored to be here.
Cool. Dude,
thank you.
So excited to have you here. So, mental health messiah, huh? That's rock star. Oh, the tales we could tell.
Exactly.
Down the mental health spirally road.
You know it.
I know it well. You know, one of the things I dig about you and Sin most, and you guys, Eyes Wide Open is the podcast. You guys need to check this out. There is also a link that's in the description that you can jump on their mailing list as well as get a free download of their book. So you need to do that. Mention that right now here. Go do it. I'll put it across the screen too. But one of the things I appreciate about watching both of you is the sheer brutal humanness that you guys bring through. That's why you rock. So
thank you.
Yeah, there is no other way to do it. But I don't want to get too much into stories, but I'd like to know a little bit. How'd you do it? How'd you pull yourself out? How'd you get there?
Yeah, this is the question. So it can be a pretty long story, but I'll try and nutshell it. When I was a kid, I was tested with a super high IQ and put in the gifted program. That made me pretty superior and arrogant and conceited and entitled. And I ended up homeless.
Okay.
As you know, it would sort of make sense with that kind of attitude or ego or approach to life. And I was determined to get out of homelessness on my own. I was raised to be productive and a hard worker. And, you know, I had a big ego, so I figured, oh, I'm super smart. This is no big deal. I can rise to this challenge. But I ended up just struggling. Like, I ran my business from the streets, and I came up with lots of life hacks, tea tree oil to stay hygienic, and Himalayan salt for my teeth. And, you know, I carried myself fairly well with dignity. So I was able to run my business from cafes and stuff because I had a laptop that I carried around.
Hold tight a minute here, because I've been in some tough places. I just have to stop for a second. If anybody is out there and you're listening to this and you're in a space like this, I suggest you take deep breaths and sit back and relax into this. What I heard you say is that, so you're on the streets, you're going to cafes, your tenacity, tenacious is like the word of the day, is tenacious, this perseverance to succeed. But I want to point something out right now. That is very traumatic to go through.
Yeah, it sucked.
It's so freaking traumatic for us to go through this. And I know that it is because I've been there. So I just want to appreciate you for that experience, because it's not easy peasy lemon squeezy.
No. I don't recommend it. It's not a lot of fun, but there are upsides, because every time I talk to somebody, they'd be complaining about their job or their family or relationships or something. And yeah. I was alone on my own, living exactly how I wanted to live. Like, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say exactly how I wanted to live, but I was living on my own terms. And a lot of people actually get sort of jealous or are interested in that particular kind of freedom. So, blessing and a curse, right?
I gotta agree.
Um,
It gives, you know what? It probably, I mean, I'm curious. Did it raise your level of compassion by chance?
Eventually, but not in the
Eventually.
beginning.
Well, I love that. In the beginning, you're just honest. You're just being straight. I have a extremely highly intelligent. I have two highly intelligent sons, but my oldest one is like hardcore, right? What you were describing would be about right. All
Yeah.
right. And I just want to say that I had probably some guilt behind that because of the whole, well, you know, because let's just face it, when you have this, he spoke 5 languages at freaking 10, what is it? No, 15, sorry. Here's the deal though. What you just said about, it doesn't matter. You went down a road that took you into a place that you had to go to. And I'm going to tell you that that's the case. That is also the case for him too. But I, as a parent, and I'm curious, I mean, we were always screaming his accolades like it was nobody's business.
Mine too.
Yeah. And yeah, I now know that I wasn't working with his emotional body enough and his emotional well-being and his mental, because I wasn't there. But you were facing that too, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty common to get out of balance. Like when you praise a child, that's great, but then is it balanced with humility or discipline or some other thing? Like, are there consequences for their actions? If a child is effortlessly breezing through school and life and every obstacle and challenge, and if they're emotionally able to manipulate friends and become popular and they get a good job, like there's not really enough hardship to build their character. So because generally my family life was quite good, and I mean, I wasn't rich or anything. We always had kind of middle class or lower class money issues, but there wasn't a lot of challenge for me intellectually or socially. And so I began to think that I could just do anything and I'll always win. And it's like, this is not the lesson you want to instill in a child. But, you know, life eventually humbled me, as as we know. So
it's a humility is probably one of the humility and grace, you know, right?
yeah, absolutely.
But when you've eaten shit, you've eaten shit. And the fact is that no matter how you all want to sprinkle it, it's a very traumatic experience to go through. No matter what we go through, if it's not, but these traumatic experiences, let's forget about what it's not. Therefore, what?
Therefore, what
are the traumatic, you know what they're for? The traumatic experiences are for
growth. Oh, they're for growth.
Yeah, they're too. I always say it's like the coal, and you're a diamond, and the more pressure, you know, and I mean, we love a diamond. We love to look at it, you know, and you're a diamond with all those beautiful facets and all those sweet pieces, right? And there's not another one like you, and that's the uniqueness of it. But that's what the pressure's for, you know. I get you. You're cool as shit. Like, I love that you're willing to talk about where you were arrogant, that you're willing to talk about, hey, this kind of sucked. But you know, fact is that there's a lot of people going through it who feel really hopeless. And we can help just in humanity with no agenda, just help people just because it's huge. And that's really what you're doing here. So thank you for showing up, man.
Thank you for having me, giving me a platform. I appreciate you.
So we know, and I know that it got rough, but what was the most humbling for you?
The most humbling was having all these skills and talents and failing to get out of this situation, failing to really grow my businesses, failing to, get off the streets, failing to find a shelter that suited me. And most importantly, I failed to kill myself. So that was probably the most humbling.
Well, I'd love to talk about that. Oh, let's just stop right there. First off, that was a big drop bomb. Dude, you failed to do that. Well, I'm glad you failed to do that.
Me too.
What the hell? You just drop it like this. Oh, and I failed to commit suicide.
I did.
You are a rock star. You're such a badass. You know what? I love that you came so... Can I just say, mental health is the most important thing that anybody is ever going to share.
Yep.
My heart feels your heart in those places.
Aww. Thank you.
And I understand why they were there. Yeah. So when you quit, when all those weren't working, what'd you do? What was the most humiliating thing?
Yeah, it was failing to kill myself.
Failing to kill yourself. Absolutely. That was the most humiliating, huh? Did you actually,
that was the straw.
Did you actually attempt it?
Yeah. So because I was still an overachiever and still proud of my abilities, I decided that I would kill myself better than everyone else. Like, I judged everyone who attempted suicide.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
That's good shit right there.
I mean, I don't know if it's not so good to be judging people who are attempting to end their life, but I was a judge.
Well, no, the judge, that's the judge judging the judger. So, I mean, which one's right? Which one's left?
Yeah.
Listen, this is a tough subject. And I just want to thank you because I'm open for everything, but yeah, I just want to hold some space with you. Jesus, I'm really glad you failed badly.
Yeah, me too.
Dude, but tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was all like, other people do it badly and they do it messy and they always fail and it's like a cry for attention, and I'm going to do it for real and I'm going to do it right and I'm going to do it the best. And, like, I was pretty judgy and I was ambitious and I was used to doing things well, and I decided to do it in a clean way so it wouldn't be a burden on people. It wouldn't create like a giant mess. It would like have my will and testament or leave a legacy or all this kind of stuff. Like, it was well planned, and I didn't want pain if possible. So I found a drug called phenopentobarbital that they use on horses and dogs and stuff, like at the vets to put them down. And I found a source for it in Mexico, and it was like $400 a shipment or $450. And for me to get that much money on the streets was a tall order, but I even managed that. And I learned how to stretch $1. So that $450 could have kept me going for like 3 months or something. But I was exhausted. I tried everything. It's been 3 years on the streets. I was starting to feel like pretty discouraged and depressed. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Screw living, screw dragging this out for another 3 months. What's the point? Even though this is a lot of money for me on the street, I'm just gonna invest in my own departure. So I went to purchase the drugs online, and I was super happy because I could click pay and I could feel the drugs on their way. I was like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm finally succeeding at something. And then it pops up the screen that says, please give your shipping address. But I was homeless. So I didn't have an address.
Yeah, that sucks.
And by that point, I'd lost my ID. I couldn't get a mailing box or a PO box. I long lost most of my friends and contacts, and even like my best friend at the time, or still, Adam, although I could turn to him for almost anything, I knew if I shipped this drug to his house, he still lived with his parents at the time, I would get a whole shitstorm. Like, he's not going to let that happen. He's going to hold the drug from me, or call services on me, or his parents are going to talk to me or something. Like, there's no way my plan's going through if I get it shipped there. Right. So what am I supposed to do? I'm a guy with no address. I'm an addressless man. Like, I'm staring at this screen, and I was just done, like, heartbroken. I was like, this is the icing on the cake. I couldn't find a place to fit in the world. I couldn't find a place to belong. All my intellect and my talents have not helped me. My businesses aren't doing anything. Like, I can't even kill myself properly the way I wanted to. And it was really humbling. And so I had to make peace with the fact that I was a worthless, unproductive, unsuccessful failure. And like, that was humbling. Like, surrendering to that was humbling. So I just laid on a bench.
Yes, he laid on a bench. Phew! Doggy. Yeah. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Damn.
Yeah, it sucked.
Let's just. So, having our ego stripped is it's such a hard experience.
Yep.
Can we just honor the human in you, the perfectly imperfect human in you that went through all that? How long ago was that?
Oh, like 10 or 15 years. I lose track of time.
This is beautiful. So anybody out there listening, I want you to hear that. Okay. 10 or 15 years, lost track of time. You guys hearing this, right? So let's go back. We're going to go back to the bench. So you're on the bench. You're homeless. You haven't killed yourself, right? And thank you. Universe is, I just think it's, the universe has an amazing way of showing. Now you can see the opportunities retrospectively that were all aligned in your favor for you. And that's the beauty in it. But dude, that's heavy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just, you just like ripped my heart. And let me tell you, yeah, you know what? Thank you, Deb, right? Serious. Can I just even?
Thank you, Deb.
I want to know what with humanity. It just kicks my ass. It's like, can we do better, humanity? Can we just fucking do better? Can we just do that? Can we do better? And the fact is, we all need to go through what we need to go through, but we also could do better as humans, meaning when people are on the streets and stuff, we don't have great enough programs. Trust me. There's a reason this is hitting so intensely for me right now, because I have a friend who is in that position with her daughter, and, trying to get her help to get into a place. And we just got news this morning that, they're going to have a bed for her. This is really serious stuff. Homelessness is such an insanely, intensely traumatic experience for people. And I don't know if we all take enough time to stop, to let it resonate that these are really people that are worthy and deserving just as we are. Shit happens. We all wind up in places, but I know how I got out of mine. What was your mindset shift? Besides being humbled and being stripped of your ego, what was the mindset? And then I'll share mine after you share yours. What was it that gave you a shift, that you knew you could shift this, change it?
Yeah, I guess it was not knowing, because I laid on that bench, dejected, beyond depressed. I was just done. I was like mentally, emotionally, and physically checked out, because I had 3 years of this. I couldn't even kill myself. So it looked like I was stuck in that torture. Yeah. And I decided to just let it go and surrender and give up. I was like, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to lift a finger. I'm not going to be productive. I'm not going to try and get out. I'm not going to hustle. I'm not going to grind. I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to even end my own life. I'm just going to lay here on this bench like a lump on a log. And it was summer at that time, and I did, and I was baking in the heat, and at the end of like a 36-hour period, my water had run out, my food had run out, and I was just like, oh, I guess I'll starve here or something. But I got this small inspiration from inside because I was listening to the universe, or I was listening to life, or I was listening to God. For once, my giant intellect had shut down, and I was open and receptive to, I don't know, impulses. And I followed that impulse, and it told me to go get some shade and some water and some air conditioning. Hello, furry critter. And
animals know how to heal. They know how to bring in the
absolutely.
energy. Oh, so okay, keep going.
So I went to the library and I plugged in my laptop and started charging it, and I had nothing better to do, so I started answering questions on forums. Back when internet forums were popular.
Yeah.
And one of them was Evan Carmichael's business forum, entrepreneur forum. And having had been an entrepreneur for quite a while, and successful or not, I had experience, and I also had my innate sort of talent for wisdom or perspectives that made me so cocky in the first place.
I'm cocky too, dude. I'm cocky too. I fully get it.
Yeah. I still have a healthy amount of confidence, but I ended up answering all the questions on the forum.
Yeah.
Because I had no life. Like, I had nothing better to do. So just morning till night, I just answered all the questions. And my answers were quite good. They were above average. Like, they were wise. And they left an impression on the moderators of the forum. And so they went and bragged to Evan, like, we have this new guy and he took our jobs, man. He's answering all the questions. Like, he's smart. And so Evan liked the answers I was giving and decided he had to meet me. And so he invited me out to dinner, and I was homeless at the time, but we sat and talked, and I ended up giving him a lot of advice, and we shared a lot of like real talk. And since I had no agenda, like I was like ready to leave the earth, I just gave him honest, real talk and real opinions. And I guess when you're successful, you don't get a lot of that. And so, I don't know, my wisdom resonated anyways, and we ended up collaborating. There's a lot more ins and outs to it, but that's basically the long and short. And I ended up sleeping on his office floor until our projects earned more and more money. And then I was able to get my own place and yada, yada, yada.
Okay. I mean, that's just powerful right there. I want to say that Deb says this. She says, surrender is powerful.
Yes, it is.
What do you say to that?
I agree. Surrender was a huge turning point for me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just a surrender. It was surrendering to service.
Can somebody type that in the chat? Surrendering to service, please.
I mean, I can probably type it, but it was.
Oh, they'll do it. They'll do it.
Thank you, chat.
Surrendering to service.
Yeah. That was kind of the first time I put my ego aside and like humbly served like morning till night. I was just humbly serving from morning till night, his forum or his projects whatever. And I knew that I might as well be dead. Like, if this is the last thing I do with my life, I'll be glad that I was of service to someone. And so this was a different attitude than I'd had the entire 3 years. And if I had this attitude in the beginning, I may never have been homeless, right?
Yeah.
When you surrender to service, the byproduct of that is wealth. It's really, or abundance of some kind. Maybe not wealth. Like you could be a hermit on a mountain and surrender to service. But if you were serving nature or serving animals or serving yourself, you would end up thriving out there on the mountain. So generally, it's like impossible or very, very difficult, maybe impossible, to find someone who surrenders to service and does not thrive. They're guaranteed.
Do you guys hear this, right? I want everyone to hear this right now. Because, Lord help me. Oh, it's just the truest thing ever. When we can show up for each other in community, in heart, in love, without agenda. Without agenda. Because see, there was a key word you said in that whole thing, talking about how you're showing up in service, and you're just like, without agenda, though. Without agenda. And then you found out the taste of life. And to taste life is to actually be there for another person, period.
Absolutely.
We're going crazy in the chat. Y'all agreed with this. Yeah. Thrive in spirit.
Wow, look at all these people.
I'm so stoked, you guys. You guys are rocking my world. I want to do a little quick thing. Everybody, we're going to raise the vibration right now, because sometimes for our mental health, things, we just need to move it around a little bit. I don't know about you, but that was a little heavy, and we're about to pop it up because we're going to get just a little popping. So we're just going to shake the chakras just for a second. Just shake it.
Chakra shake.
Shake it, baby. Shake it. Y'all sitting there, shake it.
Good vibes.
Rock on. So, woo! I must talk about the healing process of the trauma that you've been through. I want to talk first about the appreciation factor that goes into, that goes into when you show up in service, and that grateful beingness that just becomes us. Talk to me about that experience. What does that feel like for you?
So being homeless for that long taught me to deeply appreciate pretty much everything, because when you have nothing, you appreciate everything. So if I could find shelter for a night, it was paradise. Like that was heaven. Yep. If I could find a proper meal, or even a scrap of bread or something, like I was so grateful. If someone gave me something, it like doubled my life possessions, it doubled my belongings, like, right, because I had so little. And that appreciation has only grown, because as I became more spiritual, I began to see everything in life as like a manifestation of source or God's creation or whatever you want to call it. And they're all sort of a miracle. Like if you go sit on a mountain and see a view, or even just watch a sunset outside your home, the amount of things that had to come together to make that moment happen is insane. Like every insect and every plant had to grow, and every plank of wood in your home had to be built or hand rendered or manufactured or whatever. Someone had to invent something, and people contributed, and teams of communities and were all involved and played a part. It's just like every moment we live is like an unearned gift of preposterous proportions. And so as my perspective shifted, I began to deepen my appreciation and deepen my service. And both of those things lead to thriving, prosperity, and abundance. So it's kind of weird. Like you appreciate things and serve others without agenda, but the side effect is you personally benefit a lot. And so it's easy to like start doing it and slide back into that agenda. Like, oh, if I appreciate, I'll get more stuff. And it's like, dude, that's not how you're supposed to do it. Like, that's not how it works. It kind of taints or corrupts the appreciation, and then it won't work anymore. So then you have to go back to doing it without agenda. And then the side effect is you blossom and thrive. So it's like a weird paradox.
That's so rad. Okay, because I got to talk to you. This is real. I love doing, so I had to get worked with doing things without agenda because I was always in business and doing all this, and how am I going to work with that person? How am I going to work with this person? And blah, 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 blah. And when it got into the space when we show up as and being of service, and we we're concerned more about the heart prints we're leaving on the planet, there is that exactly. We grow, we blossom, we flower, we're magnetic humans. But when we have that agenda, or, well, if I am doing this, listen, y'all aren't going to go give somebody $20 that's homeless, and then you're going to get like 100 at the scratcher. Just saying. Y'all feel me on that, right? See, the thing about it is when we are doing things with our heart, I don't even want to think about if I'm going to give something to someone. I just want to know they're smiling, right? And even at that's even an attachment to the outcome. Let's just say, how about this? It's just to do. You know what? We got some happy people here. Can we just say the dance explosions were great?
Hi, Jody.
Oh, Jody Cortez.
Hi,
yeah. And then we've got
you guys.
Leanna.
Hi, Leanna.
I love this. Unconditional love and support and surrender to the higher source. Hello. This is an incredible man that has this beautiful book series called Love Waggles. And Jody, put your link in there. And everybody, I'll be putting your link. I want you to tell everybody right now, really quickly, what is the link that I'm going to put into the chat? The one that's also up above in the description. Can you tell them what they're getting with that?
Oh, sure. Go to eyeswideopenfree.com, and you're going to get the world's first self-help coffee table book, because I got tired of giant 300-page walls of text. I wanted something beautiful and short and high value. And you'll also sign up for our newsletter, where we send out emails 3 times a week, just sharing stories from our lives. Me and Sin, my co-host on Eyes Wide Open, and my life partner and girlfriend, wife, whatever you call. And it'll change your life. Really. It really will. It'll transform your life.
So go download it. It's free. I've already just put it into the chat. You can click on that when we're done. If you're watching this on the replay, which will be on this Sunday, it'll still be their Love Waggle book series on Amazon. And you guys need to go get this. It's way cute. So I have a big thing about mental health. Mental health has been like the regulation of our nervous system. And when you've been through a lot of stuff like you've been through, because I've also been through stuff, and looking at life as though it's an adventure, it's an opportunity, and all of these beautiful, positive ways we can see it still has nothing to do with the fact that our bodies are feeling all that stuff that's been happening. So you help Evan get to where he needs to go. You grow your company, you get on your feet, you meet this app. Sin is just absolutely gorgeous. If y'all need to go check her out. A hottie patootie, man. Ooh, doggy. I've had her on too. I had both of you on actually, because you came on at the end, and they're phenomenal. Eyes Wide Open podcast. I'm going to say it again. You guys need to be checking this out. Oh, by the way, this is really cute.
Hi, Finn.
Hi, honey. Love you too, baby. Absolutely. Dance party, man. Dance party. Well, you know, but life is a dance party. And when we go through things that just create these amazing diamonds, and that's what I've heard has happened. But I really want to know some of your self-regulation techniques that you're doing, because there's no way you've been through this much trauma and not. I actually just look, there's no way. I have been through it. I'm still at 56. I have a therapist, and I'm starting EMDR. Well, I already started it, but because it became very, very clear to me that if I don't get control of my own nervous system, that my life can't be what I need it to be, no matter how positive that misgratitude is. Not all the time. Just say it. So,
Absolutely. EMDR and other somatic therapies are trending now because our society is massively dysregulated in their nervous systems. And so when there is a call from society for something, then the universe will provide it. And so you'll see in every era and every generation, they'll have their major thing that they're dealing with, or a number of major things, and then the solution will arrive. So, fossil fuels were a problem, and so then new forms of energy arrive. Solar power, solar panels pop up on the scene. If society is feeling highly dysregulated in their nervous system, you'll see, EMDR is popular now, or somatic therapies, or breathing therapies, or something. And how come those weren't around before? Well, the problem wasn't as bad before, and there was no call for it. Like today, in modern times, there are a lot of people with dysregulated nervous systems and micro trauma stored in their bodies and their cells somehow. And I didn't know a lot about this because I had always seen my mind as the champion of everything. And it kind of is, like, mind over matter is really powerful. And technically, our bodies are manifestations of our mind. And so if you had the perfect mind or purest mind, you would also heal every part of your body. So,
good point.
So what does nervous system have to do with anything, really? And I started to get a little intellectual about it. But the truth is, human beings are physical creatures and mental creatures, or mental/emotional, or however you want to describe it, and spiritual creatures, or energetic creatures. The energy realm is something else, right? Scientists are tracking it now. Quantum physicists are tracking it. Our energetic field, our biokinetic or bioenergetic fields, our auras, our electromagnetic frequencies, all this kind of stuff is becoming more accepted and understood. But these three levels are like the Trinity, right? And if you have a disease or illness or dysfunction of some kind on one or more of the levels, it's often easier to address or heal that disease from the level that it resides in.
Right, where your pain, right, where it's at, rather than going to the root of it. Yeah.
Yes, and it's very common for a person to get comfortable with one level and distance themselves from another level. And so I was very comfortable with the mental, mindset, intellectual level, and so I try to solve everything from there. But sometimes the things that would heal me quickest and easiest and most impactfully were physical things like relaxation or breathing or massage or dance or walks or nature. Yep. And so when you talk to people, you'll find some people who are like, they'll swear up and down, oh, you got to be in nature. That's the only way to heal. That will heal you. That's the best way. And it's like,
not the only way.
It won't work for everyone, because someone who has an issue with their beliefs and their mindset might spend forever in nature and still never change those beliefs or that mindset. Mm-hmm. Or someone might have an issue spiritually, like their beliefs are okay and their mindset's okay, and they spend time in nature and they're doing all the right things, but they're not coming from a place of service, or they have low energy levels and are not spiritually aligned or haven't made peace with their own spirituality. And so then their disease or their illness will never go away because it was a spiritual one to begin with, or primarily a spiritual one. And so technically, you can heal everything from the mental level, because that's where we have the most control, and it's what manifests everything else. If you direct your conscious attention towards improved spirituality, you will improve your spirituality. If you direct your conscious attention towards improved nervous system or improved body, you will heal your body. But for 99% of people, one of these things is going to be an easier path to healing. And oftentimes it's the one we least suspect. And so I spent a lot of time with a traumatized nervous system, even after the homelessness, not realizing that that trauma was stored in my cells and stored in my body, and that addressing it physically would be extremely helpful. And so I owe a lot to Sin for that, because she's very much more in her body than I was. And she saw that I was living in my head too much. And even to this day, she's still like, pull your energy down and get back into the world and don't get too caught up in your mindset. And she would massage me or help me relax or take me on a walk or something. And those things were very precious and helpful and made me a better person. And they removed certain issues or traumas that were still there. And it's something I still work on, because it's not my strongest suit.
But I have a thought.
Yeah. Sure. I love your thoughts.
My thought is that it provides so much safety for you with Sin that you're able to relax into that, and you're able to do that. And that right there is finding somebody that you are feeling confident and safety with. It's a big deal. If you come from a traumatic background, safety is a really big deal until that you've healed the trauma. I actually had somebody ask me one time, well, if you still need safety, that probably means you still are in the trauma, right? The trauma, but so you have a great safety with her, and that allowed you to really feel into it. And then there's creating that space alone was something I had to do, because I was by myself at the time. I know that there's people watching right now who are also by themselves, but what is your best tool if you're alone to come back into your body and to help the dopamine, the endorphins, the GABA get going, all of your good, did I say dopamine, serotonin, all those good things, you guys. So what I know is that fight, flight, freeze, fawn, my brain was too much cortisol, too much inflammation, too much things that it wasn't needing versus needing the things to keep my mental health well. So movement was great, but I'm curious, what things are you, because it's such an interesting tool.
Yeah. So it's usually movement, like, or dance for feminine inclined beings. And it's usually meditation and breathing for masculine inclined beings. So if I talk to someone and I say, oh, just go meditate, it might help them, but maybe dance is better for them. Like, it depends on their personal inclinations. And if I go to someone and I say, oh, just dance it out, and it also might not work for them, maybe meditation will work better for them. It depends on their personal inclinations. And so if you can't read people very well, or you read the energy, if you're not aware of this principle, then oftentimes you'll recommend the wrong thing to the wrong person, or right thing to the wrong person, or whatever. But for most of my life, it was meditation and breathing, because I was so mind oriented. Right. And stilling my mind is like a fast for your mind, or concentrating my mind on a positive thing was quite helpful, because I had a strong mind. And even to this day, I know I need to move more, and Sin will encourage me to move or dance, but it's not my number one method for regulation. And it's something I do sometimes or occasionally.
Yeah.
And I like it that way. Like, I'm a masculine kind of dude, and I'm inclined more towards meditation and breathing, and those will generally be my methods. And so I call it chakra breathing. I don't know if there's a term for this. It's kind of similar to Wim Hof's method, but I breathe awareness into each chakra, because each chakra is like a level of consciousness, and most traumas can be, maybe all traumas can be aligned or pinpointed primarily to one of those chakras. And so when I breathe into them, I'm able to dissolve any issues there, or realign myself and create change. And you kind of have to do this on your own first. Like, you have to get your energy right first, or your mindset right first, or your body and your nervous system right first on these issues before you can even attract a partner most of the time. So I wouldn't have even found a sin to help me unless I did this first myself, because the external solutions that we attract are reflections and manifestations of something we've already done internally. So there's no getting away from, you have to do this alone. Even the people who are like, oh, I've had a partner since I was little. It's like, maybe, but you did this alone in a past life, or your family did this before you, or something. There was a precursor to this. You don't just randomly get it. So yeah, chakra breathing. If I have survival issues or safety issues, then I would breathe into my root chakra and put awareness there and meditate on that and affirm that until those issues felt changed. And they might not have been changed around me. I would still be homeless. I still was like hiding from the rain under a church archway or something, like praying the storm passes. But by changing my internal state, it colors everything else, and new solutions are available and new thoughts are available. And if I had issues relating to somebody, like, or my emotions were haywire, maybe I would breathe into my sacral chakra and meditate on that and concentrate on that and affirm more uplifting things about my emotions and my relation to others.
Yeah.
If I was having trouble with my willpower or my intention or creating my own reality, or if I felt disempowered or disrespected, then I would breathe into my solar plexus chakra and meditate on issues there. And so, yeah, for me, that was my number one tool for regulating my nervous system.
Was to bring awareness and we use your breath.
Yeah.
And push it. So I love that. And we're coming up on the hour, but I really want to bring a couple things up because I love all you all that are on there. I see you. I've known you for a minute, Leanna. Yes, it is synchronicity that you keep getting the suggestion to dance, because I'm going to tell you right now, and Deb, yep. Jody, breathing. Absolutely. Listen, I put every day I start off with, well, right now I'm reading Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life Again, the teachings of the Tao Te Ching. You know, that one's really good because you can do one a day. It's got like 82?
Yeah,
it's
great book.
Simple and easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? And now we're going to use your book.
Yay.
Okay. We'll use that. You guys listen. So you can pick something that you can start your day off 10 minutes in the morning. But being of service is truly, I just had to bring this back again because the way you show up and talking about service, if y'all are in a flunk, depressed, feeling sorry for yourself, because that's the fact you need a ambulance, here's the deal. All you need to do is go be a service to somebody. For real, for real, for real. There is magic in being there for somebody else. There's just magic in it. When you were there for another person, oh my God.
True.
Just so good. It's so, and actually, you know what? I mean, I don't know if there is is it possible to show up for other people and not, the reward is so good. So good. So I think showing up for service, and exactly, see, nothing like it. Nothing like it. Service. Absolutely. I love it, you guys. Hi, Thomas. How is it going? So I want to say that the things that the last thing is in deep gratitude. I have some deep, deep, deep gratitude for the times that I have been in places like you've been. And the reason is because those have given me a level of empathy and compassion that I couldn't have got it any other way. And I love being of service. It's just my thing. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to need to have you back though, because we need to talk about some more good stuff. We need to talk about the book. We need to get Sin in here, don't we, Sin? And really just see what we can do to uncover some more beautiful tools for our mental well-beingness. Mental fitness, man. You guys should be working out your mental well-being as much as you work out your abs and your arms, and if you are walking. It doesn't matter. If the priority of mental health should be so high that it comes before anything else. And so how you start your day, what you listen to, what you see, everything. Well, you all know this because you're watching us. So I know you're on point. But for those of you that need a reminder, you can check. You don't need to listen to the news tonight. There's shit anyway.
True.
Love Waggles. I love you. I love you, Love Waggle.
I love Waggle.
He's such a love waggle. You have no idea. He is the sweetest person. Holding space from others is miraculous. Yep. So, closing words, and we're going to head on out. But, guys, we will be back. You can give them closing words.
I will give closing words. Thank you.
You bet. I'm going to give you the screen, too.
Oh, I'm honored. So, I didn't have to be homeless for 3 years. I ended up that way because I refused stubbornly to make changes to myself and my personality and my identity. And I want better for you. I want you guys to have an amazing life. So please make a conscious effort to elevate and uplift your mindset and personality and perspective and approach to life. Turn it towards service to others. Surrender to service without agenda and watch the magic happen. And I know that can be difficult at times, and you may have to serve yourself first and fill your cup, but do whatever it takes, and you will find magic. You will live in a fantastic life. It's waiting for you. It's your birthright. It's guaranteed. I believe in you. You got this.
Ooh, that was good. You guys go forward this weekend in intense gratitude. I'm going to share my mantra with you that I say every morning. I go forward with the intention to share unconditional love to the best of my ability. Who can I be of service to in gratitude?
Amen.
Woo! Bye, everybody. We're going on out. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Peace and joy be yours.